Yes, 5-0. Is there any conflict of interest with the issues that are in front of us tonight?
No.
All of the 5 members say no.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the July 1st and June 26th work session meetings.
Motion by member Reese. Do I have support?
I support it.
Okay. Member Nordike supports it. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, I'd like to now acknowledge visitors, those wishing to speak on items other than what is on the agenda. And you are limited to names per speaker. And I ask that when you come forward to talk to us, that you tell us your name and your address in the township. Anybody want to come forward?
Point of order.
Yes.
Article 9, case number 243834 does not have a public hearing. So they should be able to speak to that as well. If comments, that would be the record.
CCE Fern Herman. Anybody want to come forward on that?
Point of order.
Also, that is. Okay. Article 7. December 24, 3850. Applicant is Lance Shadow. Anderson.
Tonight we have Lance and Courtney Scheidel here. They're at 8494 36th Street. This is kind of the corner of Cherry Lane and 36th Street by the lake. For context, this is a 6.3 acre parcel, excluding the right of way. A little more. The existing land use is residence with Hoppy Farm, and it's in our ARC zoned district. The current property has 2 accessory buildings, and they are looking to build a third that exceeds 832 square feet, which is why they are here this evening seeking approval for the special use permit. They are proposing to build a full barn measuring 40 by 60, so a total of 2,400 square feet. The proposed use for the building has been indicated to be for cows, hay, and farming equipment. If you have further questions about the use, I would urge the applicant to answer those questions for you. The placement of the building was originally planned to be no closer than 28 feet to the southern property line, but I did want to make a note and discuss with the applicant that the height of the building indicated that they would need to actually be 40 feet off of that property line. So the plan in your packet does show that correction, that they would be in compliance with the 40 feet based on the height that they are proposing. I did want to make one other note that the applicant should provide the location of utilities on the property, just so we can be sure that they're not proposing to build on top of any drain field or septic system, and perhaps the applicant can answer that question this evening if needed. When we look at the actual sections of zone ordinance that apply here, we look at chapter 4. The placement of the building, and then the number of buildings permitted based on their size. Because they are over 6 acres, they are permitted to be accessory buildings. So again, this would be the third accessory building on the property. That location, again, would be 40 feet from the southern property line and western property line. And in the sphere, maximum height to be 22
Record the audio.
feet, as you can see in table 4.
It's recording.
Further, when we look into the findings for a type 1 special use permit, we look at section 1703. So those considerations, I will go through.
This is like our work.
The use of the
I've done 3
building,
before.
as I mentioned, to be
And
house,
both
a farm equipment. Again, the proposed location, I went over, but the type of barn style similar to home, with shingles that match the house, a large garage door, and some windows with 2 cupolas on the roof, which the applicant has indicated the height to would still be within that 18-foot range to keep the 40 foot in the property line. When we look at the size of the building in relation to the house lot and zoning district, I think if you guys kind of give that breakdown there for you to consider. And I can answer questions if you have specific one of the generally, the footprint of the home is 2,700 square feet. The actual house is 34 square feet total floor area, with there just under 1,000 square foot garage. On table, there's a table on page 2 for comparison for previous farmland preservation zoning district past. Let me make a correction. I believe I said ARC when I introduced the application to it. It is farmland preservation, that's the zoning district. The main concern here is that the original non-conforming farm buildings were built before the farm was split. So this is the farmhouse property to the south of Cherry Lake, is that historical farmland that would have been part of the same parcel. So looking at lot coverage, this would be a 0.87% coverage compared to the average listed in page 2. So it's a little higher than the average. The fourth consideration is the type and kind of principal and accessory building structure in relation to the properties around them. To the north is the golf course, northeast is Wiggle Lake, and then there's some residential surrounding. There are some larger accessory buildings in the vicinity. To note is just to the south, we recently approved 2,800 square foot pole barn at 3660 Cherry Lane. The topography is the fifth consideration. It's kind of a mix of farmland and wetland out here, more in our rural area of the township. We looked at whether the building would affect the light and air circulation or the view of adjacent properties. You can see any concerns there. And then the points of access to the proposed building was the final consideration, and the existing drive will be utilized for this building. We did not receive any public comment on the application, and after all those considerations are recommend that special land use be approved based on the findings above, and then with the conditions that all outdoor lighting would adhere to our standards. The accessory building may not be used for a dwelling, and that they just verify the location of those underground utilities prior to putting up a building. And then I did give you an option, if you had concerns, that you could deny the permit based on 2 findings, and that is my summary. So do you have any questions?
Clarification. So just to be clear, so you're saying there's only 2 buildings there now. If this was built, it would be their third, which is the limit they're allowed with that acre.
Correct.
Okay. And then this kind of makes my second question a little bit irrelevant when I understand this. And this might be a question more for legal counsel, but my question is, if a non-conforming building is taken out from an active God and needs to be put back up, because of its non-conforming nature, does it get to be put in a different spot? Or would you typically say it should be reconstructed where it was?
You can pull up that part of your zone ordinance.
Yeah, so I can read it for. I mean, our ordinance specifically says that it just cannot be rebuilt.
Okay.
If it's demolished or torn down, so I include that in the overview, so there may be.
Was that. And that is a matter of ordinance, so your ordinance could provide whatever, there's not a law to supersede that, whatever your ordinance says on that carries the day.
Got it. Thank you.
Questions from Maxon? Member Henry?
Addison, it states that this building, what's the your summary? This building would not be exempt from the right to farm act because this is not a building for commercial farm operation. The building code may not require a permit or an accessory building used for agricultural related uses. This will be determined at the time of application. They put an application, right?
A building application would come in, and then, I spoke with Brian Wilson in the building permit, and he didn't want to give a direct sign off without actually seeing something and verifying it, the use of the building, so that's why I just gave you the two, considerations that come into play when it's a farm structure.
So it would not be exempt from the right reason. If it was,
Because it's not a commercial farming operation, it's not covered the right to farm act, but the building code has separate standards related to farm buildings that would be more so for like generally accepted. practices.
I thought under the right.
Well, the right to farm act doesn't apply here.
Okay, so then it would be exempt from the right to farm act.
It wouldn't be exempt from being regulated by the right to farm. I think for some, yeah,
The right,
that's why it's brought to your attention tonight, because it was not exempt without a standard.
I think that's the word. Word itself, how is that going on the right?
Please. Member Easy?
But was there any public comment on this that you received? None? When, before the building blew away in the storm, when it had been moved to its other location, was there any comment related to it at that time?
We received no comments. Did you?
I'm just curious. I mean, if they want to relocate the building to a different location, I guess my question is, did they receive, what was their negative feedback to the building being moved
I mean,
prior
if we
to
want
its
to get into
demise?
the technicalities of that part, that was brought to the planning department, we wouldn't have approved the relocating of a non-conforming structure subject to non-conforming standards. But if we
Right.
receive comments,
Before we approve a building to be permanently put there, I guess I'd like to know if there were concerns about it being there prior to it being
Not that I-
permanent.
not that I received.
There was a neighbor that was noticed, living at 8436. Northwest their address, immediately west. Our concern is how much over the 832 square foot. Monday, July 13th, the day is not convenient for us, we're going to. Do not have a problem with the small increase in the size of something much larger is too close to our. From 6092.
Okay, clarification here, they don't promise something much larger than 832 or larger than what the building was after it showed up there?
That's how much over the 832 square feet.
Like it's just a little sticky because the building, I believe the building was moved prior to its demise. So what I'm trying to establish is, was the neighborhood okay with the building being there for the couple of weeks that it was there before it turned upside down?
We did not receive any complaints or comments.
Okay, so the complaint or the concern you got was raised after they had applied for the season. Understood. Thank you.
Other questions from Madison? Okay, thank you. I'd like to now ask the applicants, Lance Scheidel, Kristen Scheidel, if you'd like to come up and introduce yourselves.
I'm Kristen Shadow.
I'm Lance Scheidel. Welcome. Thank you. Tell us a little bit about what happened to the old barn. I guess what I think you're doing well. For 4 weeks, and it was just when you go house, the big barn or addition. It was an old, it's a what, 1855 house. So we took half of the house off, and then made the house a lot bigger and nicer, and then right on top, the old. The old barn. Yeah, we had barn. So we always had intentions of moving it, but we waited until we got the house up, and then, on the other side of the drive, just made it easier, because if you have a house coming in, how do you put a fence across the drive? So it just made more sense for it.
It was more on the weekend, we were actually at a little friends and family party, and we came home and he had siding on it. And I think that's what happens to the wind, because there wasn't any siding, the wind was able to get up under it, and it just toppled it and threw it about 60 feet.
Yeah.
So we came home to that, and then middle of
Thank you. Richard?
You guys have done a phenomenal job in cleaning that property up and updating the house. It looks fantastic.
Many times we were like, what were we thinking? But we're glad.
How long have you lived there? Almost 2 years.
No, we haven't lived there.
Well, we bought it.
We bought it the last week in December 22. And we immediately started work on the old farmhouse. And we were able to move back into the old farmhouse. It was a large addition. In last year. So, yeah, so like 8 months.
Okay. Other questions? Receive?
The barn will match the characteristic of the old barn or the characteristic of the new house?
The new house.
Okay.
It was, yeah, it was a big silver lining, really, because, you know, at first we didn't know we had insurance coverage on it. We didn't realize. We found out that we did. So, it was much nicer.
Other questions? Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to now entertain a motion to go to public hearing.
So, support.
Moved by member Nordike, supported by member Reese. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. We're now in public hearing. Does anybody would like to come forward and give us your name and address and thoughts regarding this?
Hi.
Former neighbor. Have you moved into that new house of yours?
Yes. It's long, but I don't think we gotta talk about conflict of interest.
Hi, my name is Scott Screwborn. I live at 3660 Cherry Lane. Lance and Kristen's neighbors. And I would agree, Mr. Reese, they've done an incredible job with that property, which is obviously fantastic for the neighbors too. So we didn't know that they were moving barn, and I have no problem with that. My wife actually came, we were wrapping up our home building, came home when they were moving it. And then obviously, unfortunately, blew over. My questions that I have are, the same again as Mr. Reese. Can the building go back in the same location? And I understand Lance's comments about the cows and, not, being able to get, animals to the barn. Where it is planned to be, where they have it drawn, it will be in our line of view from our house. We can see Woodward Golf Course from our house, number 3. And, so that will be in our line of vision. And I just want to say, like, I have no issues with them doing this. I think it's great. I grew up on a dairy farm myself, so I understand, wanting to have animals. I think that's great. My only concern is the location of it. And I would also ask if you do approve this in that location, that some trees are planted there or something to, shield the view a little bit. I'm not as concerned probably as our poor neighbor who made the public comment. Like I say, I'm not opposed to it. Would love to see it go in the same spot as where the old building was. Cause that's where it was when we moved in. And, that just seems to us to be a better location for it. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to come forward and give their thoughts? Yes.
So we did approve the barn. I guys remember that they revised after the barn. We did with conditions with the trees. But it was a different situation because they were actually infringing setbacks. So they built a much bigger barn than ours, well within the setbacks. I think half the distance it should have been.
I think it was 14 feet, so,
I don't remember, to be honest.
as I remember, the few block.
So we were not happy with that placement. With them being on 10 acres, we felt they could get many different areas on that. But we did not oppose it. We just asked that there be trees there. But our barn is 80 feet, or not 80 feet, 40 feet. And not only that, but they built their home on a very large wall. So their sight line, I would imagine, is over that. And there's quite a distance of property. Actually, their barn is between where we went to our barn and their house. So I don't see why they would be
So we're 40 feet from the south property.
And it's flat land, it's not so it sits topography wise much lower than their home. And that is their garage. So I just don't understand.
Any questions for Kristen? Reese?
I don't want to get into a big back and forth here, but do you or do you not plan to plant trees on the south side?
No, we actually planned on that being pasture area.
Understood.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kristen. Anybody else like to come forward?
Move that we move out of public hearing. Support.
Motion by member Nordice, support by member Reese. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Okay. Any other questions for Madison? Or any further discussion by the members? I would entertain a motion.
I'll throw one out there since it's pretty quiet in here. Case number 24-3850. I would make a recommendation that the type 1 special land use permit be approved based on the findings above, and that all outdoor lighting adheres to Cascade Township zoning ordinance standards. The accessory building may not be used for a dwelling, and verification of the placement of any underground utilities prior to building permits being issued. And We'll try with that first.
Okay. Motion by member Reese. Does it have support? Support by member Norder. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you for coming in.
Thinking about that.
Like to move on to case number 243845. This is a public hearing. And
Bernie is here, and then Justin is here on Jason from Signature. Just so you know who's here tonight. This is for an application for type 1 special use permit at 5640 Cords Avenue. This is approximately 9.8 acre parcel in the ARC district. This is an existing special use permit actually that they're looking to get an amendment to increase the size. To have 1,080 square feet of additional space in the garage to store an RV. And then they're looking to add the covered porch, which has an impervious roof, is considered part of the square footage. So that is 462 square feet. So with the additions, the new total of the garage would be about 3,942 square feet. So the placement is existing, but they would be adding on to the north side of the property. But they would not be any closer to 28 feet from that property line. And the well over 100 feet from the south property line and more than 10 feet from the structure. So they're meeting the zoning requirements for setback standards with the addition that they're proposing. Again, there's no upper lighting on the plans, but those would have to adhere to our outdoor lighting standards. I have not received public comment regarding this application. And then again, just verifying the utility information for underground utilities, being sure that the addition of that I gave you another overview to reference lot coverages. And then again, we get into section 4, which indicates the number of accessory buildings they would be permitted with their lot size, which would be 3 because they are over that 6 acres at almost 10 acres on their property. So this is their only accessory building. And they are looking for your approval to amend that special use permit. So when we look at the findings and facts for chapter 17, the intended use of the building, as I mentioned, for recreational vehicle storage, and then the covered porch for personal outdoor recreation use. The proposed location is behind the home, and the construction is, matching the existing, and then the shingle roof will tie into that as well. The size of the building in relation to the house lot zoning district is third consideration. The house footprint is 1,100 square feet with a finished basement. The lot coverage here of the building would be 0.92. And then this comes in under that avenue. So there's no concern there with lot coverage for the property. But you can refer to that table. The type and kind of principal accessory buildings and structures located on properties which are adjoining and in the general area. Got kind of a mix here. Again, we're kind of out in the more rural area of the township, more large ag buildings, or few special use permits in the vicinity, that you could see ranging from the 90s. One, I included an image for the topography. So that you can see. Also had a chance to drive by the property. It's all screened from the court. So when I looked into the impact it would have on the adjoining parcels, I didn't see that it would cause any issue. It's very vegetated around the whole parcel except for kind of where the home and garage are carved out. So it wouldn't be impacting adjoining parcels. And then the points of access, it's in existence already, so there's no concern there. So with those findings, I was able to recommend that you guys could approve this type 1 special land use permit with those conditions of the outdoor lighting adhering to our standards. The accessory building could not be used as a dwelling or for operation of business. And to verify the placement of any underground utilities prior to that building.
Questions for Madison? I have one question. Is the lot 9.8 or 6.03?
Mine says 90.
Okay. One of the pages, I think page 2, it says 6.03, which was the previous property size.
No. But I don't think it was in favor of 19. No, either.
You can live with the other kids. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
so
do
see it
think
in,
on page 3.
Table 4-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for the record, that is inaccurate. Thank you.
Apologies.
Yeah, no other question.
I make a motion to go to public hearing. Or
Okay, motion by member Reese, by member Nordike. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. We are now in public hearing. Anybody like to come forward?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing, but I also realized we didn't actually give the applicant a chance to talk, so we should do that after we close the public hearing. Support.
A motion by member Reese, supported by member Nordike, to close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Okay, we have a representative, signature landscape come forward, Jason Haywood.
Sure. The product.
Oh, okay.
Did you ever think that? Yeah, I have others.
Okay.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything other than what's in the packet here. We've got the pavilion, we've got addition to the existing permit, so. And there's any questions from your end?
What addition, I mean, at the pavilion, I get it, right, but it's, I mean, I understand you guys want to store an RV. I'm good at jackass, right, but did you guys think about that when you came the first time? Or did you just buy the RV?
I'll let her. I wasn't around.
What's your name? Your name? Okay.
And, when they're doing the landscaping, the pool that, the building side, go inside. The camera. Or back at a hockey pool. Just turn it up like that.
Okay, that makes sense. And change my opinion, honestly.
Member Reese?
I don't have any questions, maybe you have a general comment to make. I appreciate the fact that they put the full mechanicals in that, as opposed to adding another building.
Yeah, I know, well, we get out of public hearing. My concern is 3,900 square feet, right, like, that's the second largest one, and it's.
92%.
Which, 39 and 1 is, that's getting big.
We have any questions for the applicant?
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the staff recommendation.
Support.
Motion by member Nordike, supported by member Reese. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion to approve. Passes 5-0. Thank you. Congratulations.
I was given some directive about a storm.
Okay. Thank you. That's case number 24-3834. Innocent?
Actually, mine.
Is it Andrea? Oh, okay.
I'm not up.
Right.
So this is an item that has been before us, back on the 3rd of June. So this is that, here the applicant has been working on checking off a lot of the boxes that were requirements for our conditions for the last year. The lots have been combined. The, driveway was originally supposed to be 5 foot access. They've moved that to the east, so that is compliant. They have worked significantly with Eagle, we'll get back to that. Originally, the staff from the airport had made some comments about wanting to ensure that the stormwater runoff is quite. And all the other activities have been. Let me go back to the hand. Eagle had originally tried to there was a fire that was not created. And everybody was with people and Eagle and agreed to add an additional 63 trees for the what was removed from the creation of that project. The way that work applicant and Eagle together will host that as a public comment period where I talked to the representative from Eagle that they were planning on getting out that 20-day public comment period. So if the applicant provides an additional 61 trees with at least 3 different native species, I believe it was 2.5.
I'm not sure of this.
And that you can find on the website. So that seems very sufficient. You have a requirement for a buffer tree requirement for the south side of the property. Originally asked for that to be waived. You consider that Eagle is requiring an additional 61 trees. Staff has appropriate. They're revising that. So for the remainder of the required landscaping for this plan,
believe it's page 61 of the packet.
So you're welcome to look along on page 61. The landscape designer for the landscape plan that has been provided kind of used a roundabout way to get to this calculation, but considering all of the factors, I don't see any problem with it. So what the landscape designer did was take the requirements, all of the whole number of requirements of plant material for the west side and the north side, and they provided them, but they didn't provide them within that 20-foot strip, which is required by our ordinance. So if you look on page for example, on the west side, all the RC requirements. Link, side of the parcel is 11 canopy trees, and the applicant provided 6 canopy trees within that 20-foot buffer requirement, and 6 additional trees on the west side, just not necessarily. All that to say, adequate, but it's a planning commission decision whether or not they would landscape requirements. The other issue that you want to consider that would require planning commission action today is to defer the construction of 30 parking spaces and associated pedestrian walkway on the north side of the property. Last thing I'd like to mention is I was coordinating with our township engineer today, and there's been some conversation between the applicant and Grand Rapids Water and Sewer for providing water and sewer, which is an allowed area existing, but there is going to be a lift. The applicant is providing plans by water and sewer to the subject site. And if you remember last time, there's an additional 2 parcels to the east that the applicant owns. There's some of that area is where the retention areas will be located. They are also proposing to expand water and sewer up to that northern portion, and within that is a lift station. Obviously not all, this is kind of more of the deep engineering stuff, there's the decision whether or not that landscaping or that pump store or that lift station will be allowed to stand between 2 parcels. Since they're not binding parcels, this is the perfect opportunity for any commission to require a maintenance agreement for the water and sewer between these 2 parcels so that the township or the city doesn't end up with any complicated issues in the future. So along with the recommendations that I made, I also did forget to mention the stormwater maintenance agreement, the access agreement, and I also recommend we have that the applicant should be solely responsible for ownership of maintenance and payment of the water system. And that a confirmed agreement, this should be confirmed by agreement.
Questions for Andrea?
What are you looking for us to do?
Approve this.
What you said there, or is it written something? Did you just add some recommendations in that spiel?
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
it would be 2, maybe 3.
Yeah.
Would the owner's representative like to come forward? Give us your name, please.
I am Doug Salzberg.
So,
Yes, thank you.
I'm an architect, that's why. We use them. Long time. Questions?
the deferred parking, we just don't need it, what's the?
Yeah, at this point, it's speculative. There's no particular user yet. Have been recently, very recently told that, there is a particular user that's sniffing around and maybe has some interest. It's very premature. I don't know what this. So, depending on who lands in the building, they may have a higher requirement for parking than the 67 spaces of proposing to build. We would obviously expand parking to accommodate that use.
Other questions? Yes. Member Norton?
I know. Are you comfortable with the additional conditions that she put on specifically around the water system?
Yeah, but I have a hard time hearing condition.
Solely responsible for the lift station, or anything that you're gonna be required to bring water in, is that something that we're talking about the maintenance?
Yeah, let me elaborate on that just a little bit. The water system is going to loop from property to the north through the site and then west on 52nd Street back to Craft Ave. Okay, that'll provide a public water main loop that will be owned and maintained by the city of Grand Rapids. That water main breaks, they can.
I think she's referring to this. Yeah, no, the city of Grand Rapids also doesn't want to be responsible for the neighboring sector property, as I understand it. Will your, you're representing, agree to be responsible for that if something happens to that main sector property?
Well, Grand Rapids will be responsible. It's going to be their main in an easement to the city of Grand Rapids.
If I could, Mr. Chair, ask staff a follow-on question.
Yes.
Thank you. Andrea, I want to make sure I understand what you're asking us to include so that we can confirm that Doug is comfortable with it or agrees to it. Prove it doesn't, then there's no sense in going forward. Are you suggesting that it would be, as Doug put it, that the city of Grand Rapids will own it and there'll be an easement to them should something happen to it? I know how it works the residential side. I have never done it on the commercial side. So
Yeah, and who would, how they manage their ownership versus maintenance. But the gist of the conversation that I had with Eric Thorne, our engineer this morning, is that he had a conversation back and forth with the city of Grand Rapids, who says, yeah, we don't mind running water and sewer, but considering where the site is located, it's located above where our lines run. So if we're going to service all this, we need a lift station to get, to this new proposed building. We don't have any interest in owning and running a lift station. It's going to be very expensive out onto this site to service these properties owned by partly the same person.
what is the appropriate action here? Is it best for us to table this so he can talk to the city and get clarification, or to approve with just, like, I guess, go ahead.
We're talking about two different things.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
We're talking about two different things. We have a public water main, which is going to be city of Grand Rapids main, own it, they're going to maintain it, they have an easement over, it, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It provides a loop from two public water resources, has to be full.
Yep.
Period. The sanitary sewer requires a lift station to pump the effluent up to Craft Avenue. That will be a private lift station. Yeah.
Is that?
And that will be owned and maintained by the owner.
And you're comfortable with,
Totally comfortable.
and then she also talked about stormwater agreement and access agreement. Are you comfortable with those two things as well?
Yeah, the plan shows access easement for a possible second building to the east. So there will be an access easement along that driveway to where it splits culverts off.
Yeah.
And there would be a drainage easement for the detention pond on the property to the east, which would benefit this property. That's where the drainage ends up.
So there's two lots that are. So would we need an access agreement for both of those lots, Andrea, or just the one directly?
So unless the applicant proposes to combine those two, which I don't imagine that it's going to develop one, it's almost entirely wetlands. It would be up to the applicant if they like to combine the two parcels to the east, or just write a maintenance agreement, access agreement for all of those.
Is it 5801 and 5811 and 57? Do you want the access agreement?
Yep, and the subject parcel that we have
Right.
here. So there would be an agreement between the three parcels.
If the second building to the east happens, he will combine the two easterly parcels into one. Just like he's combining two westerly parcels.
That's all my questions.
Any other questions from planning commission members? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to, any further discussion among members? Entertain motion.
Based on, planning pack with the additional three, the maintenance, agreement with the, sewer lift system, access agreement for all three properties. I miss anything, Andrea?
No, that's perfect, thank you.
Support.
Support.
Okay, motion by member Nordvik, supported by member Reese. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Good job. Okay, I'd like to go on to case number 243843. This is the Quick Trip. Andrea?
So this is a planned unit development that's in the southwest corner of the township. It's the furthest, parcel, and it's labeled BD 95. It was rezoned from industrial to the requirements of BD 95 in 2015. Point, there was a number of BDs in there, so I won't go through all of the allowed uses within the PUD, but outside of the allowed uses, it's not very unique from any other parcel within the township as far as lot size standards, setbacks, all of the other requirements revert to our zoning ordinance. So the applicant is asking, is a Quick Trip, which is asking for the PUD to be amended to allow for a gas station use. So we're not going over the whole site plan today. So what will happen is if we approve this preliminary site plan to allow for a gas station, we will then start drafting the language, and the applicant will then create a site plan that has more than just provided right now, but also photometrics, signage, landscaping, and a more detailed plan that has all of the requirements. So after reviewing this, I'm not opposed to the use, but I think that what has been provided from the applicant is much larger than any other gas station. So the applicant, the PUD 95 is an 11-acre parcel, and just doing a quick measurement, the applicant is proposing to use roughly 8 acres for this gas station use, which does include large parking lots for our large parking spaces and gas pumps trucks. So they don't do like the showers and all of the things that truck stop would do, but obviously some of the site design would be more in line with, you know, the truck stop. So if I don't have the language for trucks out there in ordinance, I have, called it a gas station. But right now, the scale of this is extremely large, so if you can see considerations that I put in here, you know, you really want to consider the acreage that you would want to allow on this 11-acre parcel for, a potential gas station. It's also provided on page 3 of your staff report, some of the other acreage, some of the other sizes of gas stations within the township. These would be truck stops, this would be gas station. So you'll see some of the smaller ones that we placed in here, ones located on 28th Street, the Village, gas stations, and then some of the larger ones are located a little bit further south, either into Caledonia, right on the road. So this is very large. I find that the use is not completely inappropriate. However, the size is likely larger.
You recommended 5 acres?
Put it in there and number where that has together. Most around.
Any questions for Andrea? Margaret?
Listed community benefit.
So that would be addressed in the future, in the site plan. So if you look at the preliminary development standard, page 4, the planning commission has, the purview to require additional items, as part of that final review. And I recommended that we require 3 items. The evidence of market needs, which the applicant has already into, community impact statement, and a traffic statement. So as a recommendation, or as a condition of approval, I did guide and provide a community impact statement of demonstrating how the proposed business provides positive and demonstrable strategies and use of the traffic. Very well, many conditions.
Other questions for Andrea? Okay, thank you. I'd like to ask Margaret Sweet to come forward and give us your side. Your name is?
We're working with Trip on
Laura Kendler?
Trendler.
Okay.
And then along with you, Skylar Evans, the project manager with the Trip, and Todd Shebor, the Trip.
Okay, great.
So before I actually jump into the project itself, I'll ask Skylar to just briefly go through a few slides on who the Trip is, because we think it's relevant to the development here.
Thank you. My name is Skylar Evans. I'm the project manager with Trip on this project. We go to the next slide. The next one. So, as she said, it's we wanted to introduce ourselves. So we were founded in 1958. We're still owned and operated by family family. We are private, so we don't have shareholders. Except for the employees. We have roughly 1,100 stores right now, nationwide, right around 30,000 employees. Next slide. A few things about Quick Trip. We've been on the Fortune list of 100 best companies to work for a long time.
This slide's a little bit old, but we're around 20 years old right now. This store and stores that are similar to this bring somewhere between 25 and 30 jobs, that we maintain at that location, not including construction, maintenance workers and stuff like that. One of the things we're really proud of, even through COVID, we never let anybody off. We've been able to maintain a lot of our employees even throughout the process. We give about 5% of our profits to charitable companies. Last year, we donated about $50 million. We're a national safe place, where youth under the age 18 and under can come into our store if they are in a bad situation at home or another situation somewhere else. They come in, our employees are trained to work with National Safe Place, which will call someone that will come and pick up the youth and take them to a safe place, and then they will work with police and go from there. That's kind of where we hand it off. QuikTrip does a lot for its employees. Some of the stuff that QuikTrip does specifically for the employees, we provide scholarships for the employees as well as their family members. We do help with childcare for our employees. And we promote from within. So Ryan, about 5 years ago, I was an overnight assistant in the stores at a location very similar to this. Working my way up to the service center, which is in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And that's where if you call for complaints, want to give props to one of the employees, you can call that number. You'll get somebody in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We don't outsource anything. We also have our security desk that's in there. And that is monitored 24/7. Each person, we have about 80 people that work per day. They're all trained on the security. So if anything happens in any of our stores across the country, we're able to get on, talk to the police very quickly. The employees don't really need to do anything, so we pull cameras. That way we don't intervene into a situation, and we can make sure the police are able to do what they need to do. From there, I moved to real estate, which is where I'm at now, doing project manager stuff, trying to open up projects around the nation. If you go to the next slide. So this is what our security center looks like. We've got the big TVs up front. Each person has a couple of monitors. If something's happening, it'll get pulled up onto the screens up front. That way everybody's aware, all the ship leads and everybody in the service center is aware of what's going on. That way we all have an eye. Next slide, please. So this is kind of a diagram of how our security cameras work. We have 4K security cameras. If we post, I know everybody has seen the 7-Eleven pictures or something that's pretty grainy from back in the day. We don't have that. We have 4K cameras. If something happens on our properties, the police can come by the camera, they can watch the video and then request it later. That way they can do their investigation very quickly. Next slide, please. And then we will move on to the project unless you guys have any questions about QuikTrip specifically. Okay, perfect.
So like we said, this is up 5905 Broadmoor Avenue Southeast. It's the very southwest corner of the township. The subject property is 11 acres, but QuikTrip is proposing to develop a little over 7 acres of property. So I know you're not making a motion on the site plan itself, but we do just want to give our preliminary thoughts and what we've got laid out here. So QuikTrip, they're proposing an 8,300 square foot convenience store, and this is oriented towards Broadmoor Avenue. An auto fuel canopy over 8 double-sided dispensers, a diesel fuel canopy on the south side of the store with 6 service lanes, and 63 standard parking spaces around the convenience store, and then 10 oversized truck spaces, which you see to the south of the diesel canopy. A truck scale is included in development, and then landscaping and lighting would be proposed to meet code. Access is proposed on Broadmoor and Patterson, and then a cross-access drive would be proposed to the south of the facility for potential future development on that bottom portion of the property you see. And what you see here are an example of Quick Trip's building elevations. They propose a bronze-colored brick material, and it's about, the building is about 16 feet tall to the top of the building, and then 20 feet to the top of the parapet. And then the fuel canopies here, this is the all the fuel canopy elevation. Both canopies are 20 feet tall and with a 17-foot clearance. And then the guns and enclosure would be supposed to match the material. So, a combination of freestanding and wall signs is proposed for the development. These details haven't been worked out completely, but what they're thinking are 2 monument-style signs at both entrances, and then building signage and maybe some price walls. I'm not sure what's going to be designed with that. So as you know, the site is zoned PUD 95. And the existing land is designated as industrial. The site itself is vacant, but there is a handful of industrial uses just northeast of the site, as well as the airport. While the zoning map designation doesn't allow convenience stores and fuel sales facilities, we're requesting to amend that tonight. The future land use designation is southwest mixed use, which we feel the retail and commercial use is in line with the intent of that district. We really feel that this specific facility could be a support use for the industrial uses to the north, as well as the airport. There are a handful of convenience stores in the vicinity of this, and I believe the Circle K is 1.4 miles to the south, is the only one that has diesel fuel service offerings. But really, that's not in the same market. This Quick Trip would be serving the northern portion of the market. And the PUD 95, so I think that was created in 2015, and it was intended for a mix of office uses. And what we're seeing right now, so 2015, obviously the market was hot for office space, and 2020, which we're calling the new year, COVID has really kind of knocked that out. And I know, speaking from personal experience, I've been in a hybrid schedule since 2020. We went to working completely remote, and now we're not fully back in the office. And where I'm from in Cincinnati, we're seeing a lot of our suburban office spaces becoming vacant. And, most of our office have been in their own core. So nowadays, we're still looking at where the office demand is. Property here could be better suited for the convenience store and fuel sales. Because as I mentioned, it would be what's around. I'm going to ask Skylar to come back up. So this is just an example of how it works with other uses or types of uses. So the 2 examples we're going to show you are from Overland Park, Kansas.
Before we jump into this, I just wanted to mention a couple of things. So we have worked with the DOTs, county and NDOT, on access points for site plan, which is kind of the reason why it's laid out. So this is one of the Quick Trips in Overland Park, Kansas. We've worked with the Topgolf for joint access. And the overall development works really well and cohesively together. We tend to attract more business, more upscale business, just because our company name and reputation is very good among developers. I think the next slide. So we wanted to take something out that kind of shows how we roll into a lot of different areas. So in this one, we've got residential to the south, and then we've got businesses, shopping centers, and food locations in and around this location. Each of our footprints do offer a made-to-order kitchen as well as grab-and-go items, tacos, brisket sandwiches, pizza, stuff like that. But you can also order stuff specifically. You can take that out to you while you're helping your guests. I think, is that it? Okay. Any more questions on that stuff?
Yeah, is this over the park example, they have, fueling stations for, trucks?
No, so this one, either one of these have, fueling locations for trucks, it's just not that area. The one that's over by the Top Golf does have enough room if we would have wanted to, in that location, we're able to, work within that. Thank you.
So generally, I'm saying generally, because I think we agree with the first 4 conditions. But for the last one, the limited to 5 acres, we would want to work with staff on that, because I think what's proposed is a little over 7. And we would just need to make sure that we can scale out the development to meet what you guys are thinking.
Member Norwood?
Will you be taking down the billboard that currently is there?
So I don't know if that billboard is under contract by the billboard company or if that is under ownership of the current owner. Depending on which one that is, and if we have that rights to take it down.
You understand that it would be included in required square footage and size?
Yes. Unfortunately, yes. Yeah, so yeah, once we figure out, I guess once I figure out, who owns that, then, I don't think Quicker itself would have any issues, with taking down the billboard.
It's up to you, it's just your square footage of signage, and then you're asking us to reduce the lot size, which, you know, talk about that, but then, you know, your allocation for side, right, want to make that correction. I am so just one of these size.
Member Norwood?
Yeah, I just got a couple questions. You come and seem like a great neighbor, but I'm also seeing every tree, weed, bush removed from that site. How are we gonna take care of that problem?
Yeah, so we plan to work with staff, moving forward to make sure that we do the best that we can to get us closer and see, landscaping regulations. Again, this is just kind of something that, wanted to bring to you guys, get preliminary approval, and go forward with the site plan.
Would you be willing to purchase in a different area to preserve that many acres of trees?
Yeah, so we are definitely not opposed to, relocating our landscaping features somewhere else within Cascade County. But if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, take down 5 acres of trees, and put up 5 acres, or preserve 5 acres elsewhere.
Yeah, we don't have any issues working with, staff and the township to see whatever we need to do for this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Member Rowland?
Yeah, 2 quick questions. I'm presuming your hours of operation are 24/7.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then, will trucks be allowed to sleep? I mean, will they be allowed to fuel up and pull in and spend some time there and sleep? Or?
So, that's all up to you guys on, what you guys want. We don't have preference either way. We typically don't have the truck parks so they can come in, park their truck, you know, illegally, order pizza, and then eat and then get back up on the road. It's typically what happens at our locations that are like this.
If you guys wanted to restrict it, that would be up to y'all, and we would not have any issues. Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions, Member Norton?
So you want to have truck parking, makes sense. We want to downsize this development.
Right. So like, we said, we would like to work with staff on the actual size, because we don't have issues really manipulating the site so that we can reduce our footprint. We just want to make sure that we can also accommodate, our business and the customers that are going to be there.
And where is he?
This is a good question, it's more for staff, but you know what, chime in there. So staff has in the report 5 acres. Sounds like you guys are aiming more for 7. My question for staff is hypothetically,
8,
okay. The remaining acreage, is it staff's opinion that that would remain open space? Or it would remain for another use within the PUD?
Right now, the thought was to eventually get baby developed. If that was a condition that
Okay, that's, I just wanted some clarification there, because I think it makes a bit of a difference. And obviously what's all going on.
But yeah, certainly, any condition could look.
Any other questions for Laura and Skylar? Thank you.
No, thank you. I make a motion to go to public hearing. Support.
Moved by Member Reese, supported by Member Norto. For the public hearing, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes, motion passes 5-0. Anybody like to come forward, or is there anybody online?
Nobody online.
I make a motion to close the public hearing. Support.
Motion by Member Reese, supported by Member Nordike. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. Further discussion? Member Reese?
In looking at this, trying to understand what the community benefit is. I know there's a list here of the recommendations that align the projects or some studies, I think, one of them was the traffic impact study and whatnot. Is that was there a specific plan for that information? Or was it just to see how does that builds demand for it? I mean,
That's just a requirement that are.
I think it allows it, but is there a specific targeted need for it? I mean, it doesn't say we have to have it, right? It's our choice.
They just seem like the appropriate ones.
Okay.
Based on.
Strikes me that if we allow a fueling station for semis, that we're gonna get a lot more semi traffic in that area, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so,
So maybe even the environmental impact statement, considering environmental impact, during the addition of underground storage tanks, refuge.
yeah,
We want to see that too.
I mean, I want to see more.
That's very cost.
Right, studies are neat, but I don't think that's. I want to see something else, but we're in the direction Timmy was going. I thought he was working in the right direction. I'd rather see something spent in that direction than impact studies. I have faith in the system that the tanks will be ample product, especially for a company this large. That doesn't work.
I'm looking at the big 11 acres, reserve 11 acres.
At least.
Somewhere else in the township.
Please.
Technically, it was level.
And that's why I was asking my question about the rest of the PUD, is that developed or does that remain? You know, I mean,
our trees, you know, conservation or open space off-site for PUDs, but right now we're only going to bring it to the next couple of months, but I don't know if we're going to adopt it before this comes back. If the applicant wants to voluntarily provide that, we most certainly can. But at this point, we don't have the bones of that ordinance adopted to require that.
So here's just a general comment. I don't see how this benefits this cascade. I just don't. Even if you buy 10 acres over here and make that ordered, I mean, another gas station, I mean, it's like another bank. We don't need another banking cascade, right? I think it sounds like a great company, and I like that. 20 jobs, okay, that's nice, but this really isn't servicing the citizens cascade. I just, and the trucking, I don't know if that bothers me. Trucks, if they sleep there, that can create other challenges in the community.
I think if something was adopted elsewhere in the township in terms of preserving green space, see it eyes, happy, so that's just what it would take for me.
And Lucy?
I agree, I'd like to see more of a benefit. I understand there's a service and convenience benefit, but I want to see a lasting benefit. Something like that. I understand that our ordinance isn't quite there yet, but the ordinance is there as far as a benefit, and that's what I want to see.
Nordo, any further thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna offset.
Can I break that thought? Lucy?
Does staff want how does staff want us to handle with responding for their recommendation?
So you'd be approving the preliminary plan for amendment to 25.
And
To add automobile service station and allow use, and then direct staff to draft the amendment.
But that would be based on our,
Could we have at least table it? I think we should table it and have the full word here too, I think. Because I'm pretty sure the other two numbers, we have.
Only question. Over here is, law for gas station. Basically trust us.
Yeah, that's not an option.
How many spots in this PUD? This is it.
Oh, you think that there's potential to have two developed there?
$100.
Yeah, well, I think that as part of that, we want to do like with the beauty. So if we got to that point, we would be legal language, and that's traditionally, in my work with planning and developments, you don't just adopt the ordinance, you adopt the exact site plan, and then amend it as needed. So I would say that part of the approval of this would be the site plan. In association, or you would either say this, all this area can be preserved, or these areas are suitable for certain areas, certain uses. But right now, advice that the automobile certification for the north 5 acres. But you would be approving that's one of the, did backwards, the daycare, we said daycare. Here, if we wanted to allow for automobile service station, you could just add that word in there, which allow the one. And this. The answer.
the question I have, if you say automobile service station is an approved use, can you say no trucks?
I don't know that I have a strong desire to limit the truck side of it, but I would say that, let me go into direction here. The recommendation staff has listed. Do the members of the committee have any strong opinions regarding numbers 2, 3, and 4?
What page are you on?
I'm on page 82. I guess I'd like one of those to say that they're gonna come back and demonstrate before this moves any further, they would, there's gotta be something that ties them to that benefit we're talking about.
That's why I was asking, why don't we table this so they can have that conversation?
But I think that's what I'm asking. You can think about what their investment's gonna be. So, I mean, yeah.
Cross, either cross, or town center.
I was just gonna ask that question to staff, see if it's.
Which one's the one,
The mobile space.
just north of there? No.
No, but the Citgo line, the one that's a little further up on 60th,
No, you're thinking so.
68.
No, a lot of trucks going over there.
And what will you say on diesel?
Yeah, are you sure Andrea doesn't have diesel?
I bought diesel there years ago. And I'm pretty sure the minor has diesel.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, but does it have the ability, I mean,
Agreed. 68.
are they big enough that trucks can pull in?
Come down.
Because the truck can't pull in like a regular gas station.
Skylar, what's?
So there's a difference between car diesel pumps and truck diesel pumps.
There is.
So truck diesel pump, they'll take a full-size truck, about 15 minutes to fill up. If you go to like Meyer diesel, it's gonna take like 45 minutes to fill up, just because of the flow rate of the pumps.
Right. I thought that what I heard was that diesel was not available. I didn't realize you were referring to truck diesel.
Yeah, not high flow diesel.
Thank you. That clears that up.
Is that mobile high flow diesel or regular diesel?
I'm gonna say like.
We don't know.
Do you guys know, does the applicant know if any gas stations in the area are? I mean, I would think your market research team did that.
Yeah, so I think there's one, but it's not within Cascade.
Yeah, I've been by that Circle K. It does support the semis. Because usually the Amazon trucks are going that way.
Motion by member Rowland to table, member Morgan. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
We have to step specific list of people who want to see.
Are we asking?
Like more detail on high flow diesel, where it is. Also, like, it'd be benefit, a little more aligned with what we suggested here.
And like some answers on signage.
That would all be done in that site in the new program. So we're gonna bring staff to preliminary development plan.
Then, right?
Oh, yeah. You could.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to move on to Article 11. And like visitors and those wishing to speak.
Start.
the mindset.
But I'm okay with getting rid of that one. We can go right to 12.
I think your agenda is wrong, because every week your agenda is wrong. Every week.
You guys are all.
You go to condoms?
This.
We did put this, we were gonna have 4 items, that this would be a late night, we've actually found a way to cover 4 items.
Well, there's a reason that it's up. I don't know, I'm not the chair.
Did you? So we held a couple different, Danielle is here, Nick we didn't want to performance it all of this, the other items, so we just started having virtually, so Danielle is on virtually. We spent the last, we've been to different workshops, Moxley and, but your, Chrissy has been able to attend, to make sure that we're invited to the meetings there and allow, a Zoom meeting and Nora was president, but didn't participate, never had a forum. So we've been noticing these meetings, but not, doing minutes for them, it's not a forum, just to make sure that we, and provide the feedback, so we can, be involved in the process. So Danielle has really worked hard on finding a use table that will be a little bit different than the way that our use are set up right now. Tradition, our looking for this, if you're looking for a use, you end up having to scroll through every single chapter to see, where it fits. So we like to move, we don't know if every table will be in every chapter, or have a chapter at the beginning, commercial or industrial, residential, so that an applicant easily look at the use table, use and see which different are about. That would pull out staff, there's a lot of calls right now. Here, how do we do this? We would like to produce a zoning ordinance that's user friendly, that is easy for us to understand and easy for you to actually have a usable tool. So the zoning tables are part of that. Danielle, do you want to bring any other background to this, or?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Hold on.
Okay. Can you hear me?
It's
Okay.
not wanting to switch your audio over for some reason. Just
Our free is nowhere. So we don't have it here.
It's not letting you do the like allow to talk thing.
yeah.
Can you ask her to raise her hand?
Let me see. Oh, there we go. Oh my gosh, this thing is killing me. That can just.
Allowing for,
Is the volume on here? Oh, it's muted.
Yeah.
Danielle, can you talk and see if we can hear you?
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
Okay, so we'll hold up a microphone.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, I'll lower my hand. I apologize, I'm not there in person. I've been up north for a long weekend, so tuning in virtually, for this discussion. So thank you guys for patching me in.
Yeah,
Um,
just a second, we're
I
gonna
sh-
move the microphone over. Let's see if that works.
Yeah, she can hear. She
Yeah.
can hear.
You guys can hear me?
Yeah. Fairly, I think,
Sound like you're in trouble.
Yeah,
you could be in trouble.
I don't know why I wouldn't just pass it through.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah,
Okay, that might have been a me issue. Apologies. So, I should note, with this table of contents draft that as you'll notice, the articles and the section numbers are quite a bit out of order. So just please kind of keep aside the formatting issues. But this is more or less just kind of a little bit of a reorg, based on what you guys currently have in your zoning ordinance to kind of help better associate your zoning ordinance with the newly adopted master plan. So as we kind of go through this process and working together on what that might look like, there's going to be a little bit of kind of shifting around different sections, maybe eliminating some sections, adding new sections, and then with regard to the table of permitted uses, as Andrea mentioned, that a lot of the key themes kind of behind that is more of a condensing and consolidating, as well as putting some more thought into uses that might have higher nuisance potential that we want to put more parameters around in the township. Taking a look at redevelopment areas as dictated through the master plan and how we can make sure to elevate building and site design requirements and require robust landscaping and signage and lighting and all of those things that kind of help to enhance the aesthetic environment of areas such as off 28th Street or Star Glenwood, but kind of those areas in the master plan that have been called out for more redevelopment, to ensure that your zoning then backs up with the vision of the master plan. So this table of contents, again, just kind of includes more of a reorganization of current text, as well as some new text. And then I believe there's some notes in there of some ideas that we're kicking around at the moment. So of course, this is going to be subject to change, and I'm sure we'll revisit this quite frequently through this process.
You see, can we just go down the table of contents real quick and pick on discuss the highlighted ones, kind of go over what it is you want to talk about on each one?
Sure, you have the ability to, we try and do a PDF, but it does carry over, I think, the comments.
It does, yeah, I see it here.
Okay.
Hopefully, right?
Yeah.
So it looks like the first one's 2.15.
that's the one I'm seeing.
I can add a little bit more context to that if helpful. So a lot of communities have been expanding their requirements for home occupations in specific, especially in light of COVID, when a lot of folks started working from home or having more of like a home-based business type of environment. There was an article that came out in Planning and Zoning News, I want to say maybe about a year or two ago, that discussed the best practices and like that were written from like several municipal attorneys across the state. And the recommendation there is to basically separate your home occupations into 3 different classes, the first of which being your lowest or no nuisance potential. And then your third would be your highest nuisance potential, where perhaps you might have on-site customers or perhaps a little bit more, I don't know, deliveries or something to that capacity. So I would like to add quite a bit more teeth into the home occupation section of your current zoning ordinance to include more clear parameters around what is permitted and what's not permitted. I should also note too that I've already been digging into the accessory structure section of the ordinance. And I think first and foremost, we should clarify a lot of the questions that Madison gets on a regular basis on how to interpret that section of the ordinance and what is considered a detached accessory versus attached accessory. How does that fit in with potentially accessory dwelling units, such as like pool houses and so forth. So those are gonna be kind of new content that we'll dive into and have a closer look at for sure.
Yeah, can you limit the number of Amazon deliveries specifically to my home?
What is considered an attached accessory?
Did you say attached or detached? I'm sorry.
If it's not something I have, I would, or maybe I just not paid attention close enough.
Did you catch that, Danielle?
I didn't, I'm sorry.
He was asking about attached.
So your ordinance currently, it defines an attached accessory structure as something that is attached to the principal structure, such as a covered porch or a, I don't know, a carport or something of that nature. So because of the way that that's defined, it can get a little bit dicey because there are folks in the township who have been asking about like pergolas and covered porches, and is that included as part of your building footprint or is it not? So the way that the ordinance defines it is that it has to be attached, I believe, with a roof to the principal structure in order to be considered as attached. But that's something that I think that we should take a closer look at to make sure that those definitions are clear and whoever's interpreting the ordinance would be able to identify that solution quickly.
Well, primarily we define, the only time we really talk about an attached accessory structure is if we allow for a private garage attached or detached separate from the allotted number of accessory buildings. So that's really where we get into attached, besides that to what Danielle said, like a porch or a deck is considered an attached accessory structure, but it doesn't.
Okay, that's covered. Well, it's covered over the post of the ground, the square footage. Well, I think Danielle's taking the word attached a little, maybe further used to it, because we would consider a covered deck not under an overhang, porch. We would consider that different square footage, but we would consider it as an attached. Because that's usually how we do it.
Yeah, I think he's speaking generally like.
Right. And I understand that, I just was thrown off by that initially, but I think that's
Differentiated.
the spirit of what she's trying to explain. So if you have like a detached garage connected to the house with a breezeway, it's an attached garage to the residence.
Yes.
Right, okay. I think we can.
I'll go ahead and call that.
I noticed on 4.04, agritourism compared to rates of farm. Didn't we already do all of that in the subcommittee?
That's what's pretty around May 22, or we had went through and
Oh.
verified. So this is the work document. Or we
That's
said,
good.
we talked about this with you guys, and we'll make
Right.
sure that you're ready to put it up.
Good. So,
Same with the child and adult daycare. We're gonna make sure that meets the new zoning and English.
I'm close. Or, oh,
The word commercial.
Right.
we added.
take the word commercial out.
What's the
Finally,
roof daycare home? So it's, how's that different than the adult daycare?
which fact?
So those are all regulated by the state. It was like we're just added to the England app in the last year, so it's all about size and our family is a
1 to 6, roof daycare is still in a home, but it's 7 to 12, and then their child care center is regulated by staff.
You're on camera, Bill.
I thought,
Kennels in there?
there is, kennels are located on.
Here, do you want to specify animal kennels or?
It'll be-
So they're both James.
I would like to be part of the feedback, but super helpful. How do you guys feel about, what the team talking about potentially removing the expressway service district? Like, I have any strong opinions on that?
So if I may add a little context to that. When I was digging through the ordinance, and kind of comparing that with the goal of the master plan and the vision of the master plan, I kind of flagged the expressway service district as something that I wasn't entirely sure if it was necessary to keep, only for the fact that the uses in the expressway service district are essentially the same as the B2 district. So if we elevate the B2 district to have higher building and site design requirements and take a look at those uses permitted for each of those, as well as the schedule of regulations, we might find that the expressway service district doesn't really serve that much of a big benefit to the township. But alternatively, we might decide that it does and we want to keep it. So I think that one was just kind of flagged as, you know, as we move through this process, that it will likely require more discussion. And I think the direction so far that I'm thinking is probably to keep it, but more so differentiate that district and why, why it's different compared to the B2 district. Again, these are all subject to change and also important, you know, discussions in the upcoming work sessions.
Legal content. I have one other point. Do you guys have any other comments on legal content?
Those scroll
Page 31.
on page 7.
Got distracted and I just started.
We're at the page.
We are going to add page numbers to the pages. Well, I mean, for the zoning ordinance, but we actually try to add them, yes, as well.
And so the entire ordinance will also be hyperlinked and clickable as well. So you can go into the table of contents, click to the page you want, and it'll jump to where you want to go. Your current ordinance right now, some of the links work and some of them don't. So again, these are just kind of things that will clear up.
Well, those were actually those work now.
And Richie,
Madison, you had a list that we had been working on prior to many people arriving. Do you feel that the items on that list are being integrated into this, or do you feel we'll fall short in some categories?
We had an internal meeting before the work session started where I made sure those translated over. Some of these we wrote down, we were able to capture in one more broad definition that what it's actually defined into. Because what you're saying is that this list looks shorter than what we looked at, because we were able to.
Combine some things.
Yeah.
All right, and that's, I don't need all the details, I just wanted to make sure that, because I know you know that list, because everybody else that did this left.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is important, you know, to get rabbit in on that. Completely recognize that she has institutional knowledge. So Madison is involved in this as much as possible, and Danielle mentioned her days. So that Madison and Danielle are able to mull through this.
that's good. At our first workshop meeting, we marked up some of the changes here to the summary table of permitted uses, because it is a draft. And to Is this been revised at all, or is this the original?
We revised them on the fly. Where did we have, what was it, on the 15th or the 16th? We had a meeting.
Yeah.
We put that together, well,
No, that,
the same day. And then we exported this after the last meeting we had, the 10th.
yeah, the 10th was the meeting, we exported it, the 12th.
So the comments that we talked about at our meeting here.
It should be the latest.
Yeah.
We'll put a date on there too,
That'd be
just
great.
to say when it was exported last.
Yeah.
Commissioner Morgan, I wanted to mention. For multi-family allow that. I think that right now that we've got R3, where we could actually say 3 to 4. Right now we've got 5 or more as a special land use, but we could actually remove that 3 to 4 and just say 3 or more as a special use, which would bring this back to planning commission for those site plan review and special use permits, which then would allow the condition. So that's something to be thought about.
So like include, so you basically want to include duplexes, but we need more. Come to us, to make sure I understand what you're saying.
Sure. Yep.
And that's instead of the PUD process, but only for R3, which is
Yeah.
just the,
Would be
which we haven't signed anything.
exactly. Yeah.
Makes sense.
And we may find, because we're gonna adopt the zoning ordinance, we also want to, we're gonna start rolling over the zoning ordinance, the zoning map as well. And we might find this with that.
Yeah, no, I just think there's a lot of things here that need to take place for, for high density housing. So I'd like to see it from here, but that doesn't mean that the planning commission is just fine.
Not easy.
After a conversation a while back, we have a lot of PUDs, question, kind of being on against the wall as to why. I was doing a little reading, and one of the things that jumped out at me was prior to, I believe it was 1986, there were different rules on how land is split in the state of Michigan. And Cascade was under pressure for development at that time. And so because they couldn't split parcels up the way they can now, a lot of people put in, my understanding is PUD requests, because that was a way to circumvent the splitting into individual lots. Because they could have multiple things going on in an area of development as opposed to the traditional carving of the parcels, so to speak. So I think that happened in a lot of cases, so that those things could happen. Whereas now that's not necessary, but maybe so maybe that problem was kind of, and I think maybe that's why a lot of our PUDs are older as opposed to, but I don't know,
Yeah, I think you
just a thought.
Any further discussion on this? I'd like to make one personal request, and that is that you print out the latest version of this summary table. And I'll stop by and pick it up tomorrow sometime. Okay.
Free hole punch, please.
I would not agree.
If anybody else wants one, I'll make it. Seriously.
I'd like to see it, at the very least. Bring it.
Is it in your program?
No. Okay, anyway, thank you. Make 2 sets.
Anybody else? More copies?
No,
Sure. Okay, Article 11, I've got acknowledge visitors and those wishing to speak. Anybody online? Nick?
Nope.
Nobody in the audience? Okay, all other business, zoning workshop?
I'm looking right at it.
The zoning workshop, well, this one will be July 24, 7 to 9 a.m. We all able to attend that one? You're gonna be gone. Mr. Reed?
I'm still working to be pulled on that. I have to go through that day and travel.
That's next week, right? Like next week? Yeah, I'm not gonna make that. I won't.
Yeah, we'll be that. I have, I will not be.
So here we have three that are not able to attend. I'll be the only one. I'm assuming.
What about trustee Tilly? You haven't asked.
Secretary.
If it's raining, you got a good chance to show up.
We hold it,
hot minutes.
the April, the result.
It'd be the 19th.
Sometimes I start at the 19th. Sometimes it doesn't get off that long.
Anyway, it sounds like we're gonna have a very high attendance. If it's that time of the day.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot.
Yeah. Bring us some Starbucks.
Okay. Right,
Chairman, may I, mention some, we had talked about meetings. Quick, see where we're at, meetings.
great.
5401, that I thought the applicant provided a bunch of that for the applicant and the neighbor to the east. We're getting, a legal opinion of what we can do, and what we can't do for that site. So we can get consensus or a legal opinion that this opinion from our legal team and some items that I requested. Actually, all of the items I requested have been provided. They actually went out on site. Put out a page to show us where the proposed driveway would be, where the retaining wall would be, that we can for sure show on site that there's some contact. They invited you to stop out there and look.
So is this the one when they did the building with the?
One where they erected the building when they were not supposed to.
And can we strongly recommend that the owner present?
Yeah, I mean, you can require, or you can request.
Yeah, we're gonna require.
Yeah.
But they want to vote.
Well, that's all the legal.
Well, wait a minute, if they want a special meeting, then we can require it, can't we? If they're asking for a special meeting, then we can require that the owner be attendance at the meeting.
You can influence your decision, but you can't help them to be here. If they're not here, it just may affect you decision.
We also take into, there seem to be a mix up. We take into consideration the fact that they have screwed township requirements, they violate stop work orders. I.e., like, we have concerns with a road developer.
And a road owner.
Okay.
So if the special meeting doesn't work out, we've got a little while. We actually don't have applicants in right now, which is kind of weird. So we might have to cancel for a while. We don't have anything for you that we had a meeting. We don't have anything submitted for that. So technically our next meeting would be what time?
Yeah, they do.
So we have the zoning ordinance work session scheduled. You would, November and I, would be if we wanted to, because we, at least we're noticing those, if we could, legal opinion for 5401. I mean, we schedule those. Which is great. We have a bunch of them. So, yeah, okay. So then we can put it on the, yeah. It doesn't matter, there's more session. And we do that, we'll let you guys know that there's gonna be something else, and we can work with you to see how many people have time to hear that. Make better off, not worrying about regularly scheduled meetings right now, or doing board session.
Do we have a meeting on the 5th in the 19th, and there was talk of moving that, I'm just trying to understand.
The fifth. Election.
Understood, it still shows up for what it's worth, Andrea, on the website for the township. We should get it off there.
Wait,
But the fifth is still there. I'm just looking at why. 12 shows us it's a sad meeting. August 5th is still on there. So is August 19th. Okay. There was talk of moving it, I thought.
no, that was for, oh yeah, that was that. Yes.
All right, I'm not losing here.
No,
I just want to make sure that we're not communicating to the public that we're having a meeting.
no, I'm very surprised that on the still on there because we canceled that along with November, like, what is it for?
Right, which makes sense that we would because we typically do. I'm just reading you what you,
Yeah.
again, just so that we can fix it.
Yep, yep.
And then I thought there was a conflict with the 19th. Is there, in fact,
That one would be a part, yes, there is, but we've already passed the deadline for the application.
so should this plan on not being there?
Oh, with the.
Yeah.
We can do it that day, or, you know, we can do the 26th. Does everybody have openings on the 26th?
26 may be difficult for you, but this, I wouldn't hold up.
August 26th?
Yeah, August 19th.
I mean, it depends on the whole double bit. It's gonna change, like, August 19 is the first day that Forest Hills is set aside, but they're in discussions with the union that get delayed. And we don't care what the rest is.
Probably.
And they're trying to sell the fruit.
Okay, August 19th or August 26th? Are we gonna stick with the 19th? If it's quick trip, I can continue to work with that and come on virtually. That's not a major problem.
I'd like to stick with the regular schedule.
Okay, so just to clarify then, we will update the website.
Oh.
But, oh, that's why I'm thinking about the songs, we're still in July.
Forgive me, the next time we are meeting is theory the 19th of August, not. Oh, thank you.
Depending on, and then, you know, we'll probably just start a little special meeting, depending on if the church gets back to us.
Okay.
With an updated plan. If you think that we'd be able to write for one.
Who were the guys back here that they were talking? You know,
You know, I think that they were the owners and we talked about potentially calling them up to ask about that.
Yeah,
billboard.
they had asked about 5905. That's what they were. He didn't say his name, but they were interested in 5905. They had asked me if that was up yet. They would have been the last two, I think.
Did they sign it?
Jeff
Yeah.
Conley and Cynthia Papa.
It looked like someone who'd been here before.
So may I make a suggestion too, and that is to send an email out with all the numbers you might. Yeah. You really would. You'd like,
I'll make sure they also know about workshop.
yeah,
There's somebody. Okay, any other business? Motion to adjourn,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
so. Motion by member Morgan, supported by member Reese, all in favor, say aye.
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 Sorry, Ralph, 6 minutes past.